We're live.
Hello,
Okay.
everybody.
Yes, hello everybody. I am Sandy, and we have two
Chloe.
other hosts today, Chloe, and we have Stephanie here as well. And this is WordStitch. So thanks so much for joining us. Stephanie is a new co-host for us today. So we're going to be writing shortly, but I thought we should give her a chance to say hello to you guys first. So Stephanie, feel free to say hello. Tell us what you write and such.
Hey, my name's Stephanie. I have a YouTube channel here. Of course, I'm on Instagram. I write a variety of things. I have a work in progress of a fantasy novel, which is turning out to be harder than I thought it would be because of the word building. I'm getting ready to publish my first book. It's like a contemporary adult book based on actual events, like not like historical actual events, but local of like true events that happened to people that I know, including me. But yeah, and I'm also have a outline going for a romantic comedy. I don't really have a particular genre I write in particular yet. I haven't narrowed it down.
Yeah, that's a really wide range there. So you do fantasy, contemporary, and also
was romantic comedy. Like the fantasy one, I don't think I'm going to set that aside for a while, like a long while. Because like word building in a fantasy world building is just, it takes a lot. There's a lot to it, I found when I was trying to discovery write it. And then I like reading romantic comedies and watching romantic comedies, so I thought I'd give it a whirl and see how that goes.
Awesome.
Can't know till you try, right?
I bounced around a whole lot before I narrowed down my genre as well, so I get it. I've written a little bit of everything, and it's funny because I wrote a whole bunch of stuff that had absolutely zero romance in it whatsoever, and now I'm a romance writer.
And I also bounce from genre to genre, although I think most of my romance is because I feel like it might be a semi-profitable kind of field. You are getting ready to publish. Are you traditionally publishing or indie publishing?
No. I wanted to try traditionally publishing, but as much as I tried, I couldn't get it to a length that would be accepted. They want, a lot of publishers wanted a certain word length. I think mine's like at 55,000 words, but still a decent amount of words, I thought. So I'm getting ready to self-publish it in like November, early December.
And is that your first book that you're self-publishing?
Yes.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thanks. My plan is to release it and then hide from the world for like a month and then go back and read all the comments about it.
Oh no, you gotta like release it, promote it, and never read all of the comments. That's my personal opinion. Okay. So Chloe, what are you working on today?
I'm brushing my cat, apparently. My cat's being real weird. I just got back from 10 days out of town. It is good to be home, Natalia, but the cats are both acting super weird. The one is acting like he doesn't know me anymore, but apparently he's been acting like a nightmare since I've been gone. This one had to get in my lap, but then like hissed at me when I tried to move her, and I don't know what's going on. So right now I'm dealing with cats, and then I'm going to make myself some coffee, and then I'm going to actually start writing because I didn't get nearly as much writing done as I wanted to this week. I ended up writing like 18K, which was so much shorter than I wanted to. So
even though you did write-ins like every morning, that surprises me.
I did. I know. And I feel like I did so much writing, but I didn't apparently. Yeah. Well, let me get this timer set up though. And we'll go ahead and get that first sprint going. And then we'll get down to business.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm editing today, and I have grammar questions that I have real grammar questions for y'all. So I would appreciate help with that in a moment. But let's do writing first.
Yes. Oh, I can change my settings. Also, my computer is so confused about being back to what it should be. Okay, so this is our first sprint. We're going to go for 10 minutes. It is 5 after the hour, so we'll be back at quarter after.
Sorry, dog's going absolutely insane.
Gotcha.
Let me,
Oh no, we've lost Sandy again.
all right. How do you guys feel?
What'd you get done?
So, oh my goodness, somebody just rang the doorbell. That was crazy. So I'm trying to look up a rule for my grammar thing. So what did you guys get done? And then I'll tell you my grammar problem, because I think it's kind of a decent sized problem.
I got a cup of coffee made.
I wrote 31 words of dialogue. I pulled open my document and I dealt with a little mini fire in the house. Not a fire, but like arguments between the kids. But that's what I did.
Oh, I did also have to fight the document to get it open. I guess that was also something. I've been traveling, so everything is slightly off right now.
All right, so let me give you my grammar problem, you guys. So here's my sentence, okay? Thank God they traveled light, and Sam insisted they always be packed and ready to run. My copy editor thinks there needs to be a comma after light. But, and I get that, like, if the sentence was, they traveled light, and Sam insisted they always be packed and ready to run, then you'd have that comma there. But because of the thank God at the beginning, I think he might be wrong. So, what do you guys think?
You're right. Light? You're right, because there's a missing that in there. It's not missing, but there's an assumed that. Thank God that they traveled light. And also Sam insisted, thank God they traveled light. And thank God Sam insisted they always be packed and ready to run.
Oh, so I can see why the copy editor would want you to put it there. And I also think that like having the comma there would make it look a little off to me. But I see that right with Melanie has a suggestion in the comments, but I was thinking, what if you just put like, thank God, and then exclamation point, and then started a new sentence. They traveled light, and Sam insists they always be packed and ready to run.
So like split that sentence up.
Yeah, like doing like thank God as like the exclamation point after the word God, and then the rest of the sentence the way it is. How would that look to you guys?
So Melanie has a good suggestion, and going off of Melody's alternative sentence, I could also say, so Melody has it rewritten with they traveled light removed from it, but also if you just removed they traveled light from it, that would save the confusion. And I don't think both parts are necessary. I think you could just say, thank God Sam insisted they always be packed and ready to run, or as Melanie had it reversed. I think both of those are also options to just get out of this thing. Grammatically, the sentence is correct, but there is that weird ambiguity in it that for the reader, it could not, the reader could get hung up on it, even though it's correct. So rephrasing it might be the better option than fighting over that comma.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. Because I mean, like I am like, I mean, the character there is thinking, thank God we travel light. Also, thank God my friend insists we always be packed and ready to run. So like
here's another thing that kind of changes it slightly, but I feel like still works better in a weird way. You could also put an M dash after light. Which would add emphasis to that without changing this weird grammar. Like it functions the same as a comma, but I feel like the power behind an M dash would actually make the sentence work a little bit better.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. So okay, let me try to. I think that might be a good, because okay, sure. Like it is implied that being packed and ready to run implies they traveled light, but I don't think it's wrong for the character to separate those in their mind. You know what I mean? Like you could theoretically like travel heavy and also be packed and ready to run. well, maybe not ready to run. So, okay. So let me, I just put the revision in the comments and not here. So let's see if I can't fix this. So you're saying we could just do that. Assume that's an M dash. You can't M dash in the.
Oh, right. We're not going to fight to get M dashes on StreamYard.
Yeah. Okay. I could. Yeah. Oh, so now I have two choices. Well, thanks, guys. I feel like this actually does resolve my problem.
It changes the read of the sentence, but it keeps the impact where I think you want it to be.
Yeah. I find these like a little bit frustrating generally, right? Because I know the grammar is right on, or I thought the grammar was right, that the punctuation was right the first time. But if somebody's going to look at it and be confused, then it kind of doesn't matter, right? So I want the sentence to be clear, but and then it also kind of drives me crazy that my copy editor put in a comma that wouldn't have made it clear, right? Like specifically adding the comma ruins the sentence.
Technically, like putting the comma in there is proper punctuation, but
is it?
It wouldn't.
I disagree with that. I disagree with the function. I feel like that's two different sentences.
I mean, if you're trying to keep it all in one sentence, maybe that's where she was like, well, if we put a comma here, it's a good spot to break up this long sentence.
So I think, but if the function was, but if the sentence was meant to be constructed as "thank God this" and "thank God this," which is how I read it, and I think that's how Sandy meant it, then that is the proper punctuation. It just, again, it's one of those. It's like the whole the because situation where whether that comma is there or not, the comma can be there or not. But if the comma is not there, it's a different sentence than if the comma is there. And sometimes it's negating itself.
Yeah, so like this is how my copy editor wanted it, but this sentence isn't the same meaning as what I wanted. So this is, thank God they traveled light. And then also, Sam insisted they always be packed, right? But not thank God Sam insisted, right? So like the first part is not connected to the second. But so that's the thing, right? Like I think the editor probably should have known that I meant thank God to both of them, right? But clearly didn't. So obviously the sentence is ambiguous enough.
It's ambiguous that it just needs to be changed. Yeah.
Right. And yeah, so are we talking about the one on the screen right now with the comma? Because I think like this would be a terrible sentence. Like it doesn't feel
I don't like that sentence.
Yeah, I don't.
It's awful.
There's something about the comma and they're together. It just makes it look odd to me.
It's weird, right? It's not how it's supposed to be. That's grammatically correct, but it's a terrible sentence.
What's funny is with that, I would rather the whole thing be reversed. With Sam insisted they always be packed and ready to run. Thank God they traveled light would actually be, if that was how I was reading that sentence, where I thought that it needed the comma, that would be the correction I would have suggested for it.
Yeah, right. So, okay. And right with Melanie's with this, right with Melanie, you must be totally like a grammar person. She has many comments here. What's the...
Yeah, she said that she is as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think this is right. Like it's what's the most important part? Is it the traveling light, or is it that we're packed and ready to run? And are those different things? God, I should probably just get rid of one of those parts and make the damn manuscript shorter.
Oh God, is that one of the things that was on the chopping block?
No, it wasn't. But like the book is. That manuscript is like 120,000 words or something like that. It's a very substantial fantasy novel, and I mean any word I can get rid of is a word I could replace with something better. So, I don't know. I'm trying to think about that. I've used up our entire break, so I'm going to hide this, and we should probably do our next thing, right?
Yeah, let's do our next sprint. Next sprint is 25 minutes. It is 25 after, so we're going to write until 10 of. Good luck, everybody. Get some words written or whatever you're working on today. We don't know what everybody's working on today. We'll go over that after the break.
Okay, we are back. How'd you guys do?
I got about 400 that time, and I hate my keyboard right now, but that's okay.
What about you, Stephanie? How'd you do?
I got 300 and something words. I'm quickly doing math. And story's progressing, so I guess it's good. I did a question though. So if you're in a doctor's office and the doctor's nervous and he clears his throat before he starts speaking, how would you write that, like the clearing of the throat noise, other than saying he cleared his throat?
Wait, say it again. You're a little bit quiet.
Oh, okay. So like if like you're in a doctor's office and the doctor's going to start talking, but he's going to clear his throat before he says something, how would you say that? Like, is there a certain like word or a sound word that you would write instead of saying the doctor cleared his throat and then whatever he said afterwards?
I usually just say they cleared their throat.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would have too, but I understand like trying to find something else, right? Because cleared their throat could feel like a little overused, like a little bit like eye rolling.
I mean, I guess you can go with like made a rumbling sound or something like that, or rumbled, or
right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess I could leave it the way it is, just like he cleared his throat nervously or something, instead of trying to make a sound effect out of it. Like in my other book that I'm getting ready to like publish, someone like blew a raspberry as he tried to blow out his candles because he'd been drinking anyway. And so I made that like the raspberry sound with words in my manuscript. So I was just wondering if there's a word description to say clearing your throat.
I think you'd have to make it up. Like I think you'd have to seriously, like you'd have to harump. He I don't know, whatever the noise for clearing your throat is.
Yeah. I don't know what that would be either.
I feel like what is that noise?
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm clearing my throat just to find out.
I mean, I also consider it to be
like
a hem, but I've never actually written that before.
Because it's not an ahem, right? Like nobody says ahem to clear their throat. It's
let's look at these X-rays here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like a little growl. It's a strange, yeah. I don't think you have to do the like he cleared his throat nervously thing though either. I feel like if you say nervously, it's
implied or overly done.
Yeah, you got suggestions.
Yeah, you could even like if you're just trying to imply. Here is a good one, but yes, Melanie's is good. But you could even instead of saying that he did that action nervously, you could just go with like a hesitation because we all know what it is when somebody hesitates to say something without needing to clarify why he's hesitating.
Okay,
here's another possibility. I like
could be looking in another direction. There's a lot of. It might be again. It's one of those things that like maybe just go with a different thing or just go with exactly that. But if you don't like the phrasing there are other ways to get to that.
Okay, all right. I like all the different options I could go with.
Yeah, I do like feigned a cough. That's very graceful.
I like that also. I don't, it's like a weird thing, right? Because he hesitated, he cleared his throat. Like, you're always trying to show that better because it's so easy to revert to he cleared his throat. Yeah, exactly. Which, okay, is it telling or is it showing? I don't know. I mean, because is there another way to say he cleared his throat? Like, there may literally not be, right? Unless you do stuff like this. So, like, how is that not showing?
His throat in such a way that it moved phlegm down it.
He created phlegm for the purpose of showing hesitation. I knew it wasn't real. Like
Sometimes it's trying too hard and you just clear your throat.
that's the thing, right? Like, and people, I don't know, this like the showing versus telling thing. I get a little annoyed at like those kinds of directives, right? Like, really, like show a throat clear.
How do you show that?
No,
I've always considered that to be one of those things that, like, that's how you learn to write, but that's not actually how you write. It's just how you learn to do it so that you learn to actually show the story, but that's not actually how you do it.
I love this. He avoided eye contact while pretending to swallow.
At that point, it's like, are we in a stage production?
Yeah. Seriously.
So, fun fact for me today, I just had to do a little bit of research because my character is going through some art supplies. She's trying to recreate something that she saw, and the supplies that she has isn't working, so she's asking for more. And I was going to have her ask for oil pastels. I was like, oh, this will be a good kind of different medium than what she's been using. And as I went to write it, I was like, oh, this character wouldn't have any art knowledge after like 1950, and I really don't know what the origin of oil pastels are. These things could be ancient or they could be really modern. I don't know. Oil pastels were invented post World War I.
They were invented post World War I?
Actual oil pastels, crayon, some form of crayon has existed basically forever, but actual oil pastels are only like 100 years old.
No, really?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Yeah, and like, again, with crayons, there's not a huge difference between crayons and oil pastels, but that actual like formula, so to speak, that particular consistency of crayon is a new thing. The story for it was real weird and didn't actually make any sense why they invented it. Like, it was one of those things that it was invented for a real wacky reason, but she does know what they are, but that was like cutting close on that. So if you ever see any oil pastels in like a Victorian era novel, they're wrong.
Oh, that's so sad too, because I feel like painting and like oils are totally common and that kind of thing, like so romantic to think of generally.
Eggs. I think it's actually the egg yolk, though, if I remember correctly. And this is a really weird reference, but I remember specifically in the movie Home for the Holidays with Holly Hunter, she is using egg yolks in it, but that's for tempura. I'm gonna say somebody can say I'm wrong on that, but yeah.
Ooh, you could go really.
Oh, yeah. So she's in hell right now, and she is staying with somebody who is an art major on Earth, but they're in hell, literally. So she just has a box of art supplies.
I feel like you could find flowers in your hell. They might like do something to you. They might like.
Yeah, remember they all tried to kill Clara.
Yeah, exactly. They
might goes out to make a wreath, and like everything is deadly, and they have the sexy shower scene. Yeah.
But does that mean that those flowers cannot be used as a paint medium? I don't know.
I mean, that's fair. Nothing else, it can dye fabric. It might try to kill you, but also this is actually the fallen angel, so she'll be fine.
Totally fine. Yeah.
Anyways, it doesn't even matter to the book. She just needed one more thing to have a meltdown over.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So you are working on Verity still.
I am.
Yes, which is good. It's good.
Yeah. I know you're real excited for that.
Oh my God, I'm so excited about that. I really am.
It is time though for next sprint.
Oh, already? Okay. All right. Let's do the thing.
All right, we're gonna go for 30 minutes this time. It is right on the hour, so we'll see you guys at past.
Okay, we are back.
Ooh. Yeah, about 500 there.
Good.
How'd you do, Stephanie?
I got 412. Yes.
Awesome. Sandy, are you just fixing those edits, or what are you working on right now?
Yeah, so I'm incorporating the edits. There weren't a ton, but so I've just finished that into my Mortal Inheritance Book 2 manuscript. And then I'm revising the infertility memoir. That thing's going to take so much longer than I thought it would. Like, so much more energy. I think I'm going to have to drop a project for the month in order to get it done.
What's going on with that one?
It's fine. It's just the story is really dense. Like the memoir ended up being something like 74,000 words, and I was targeting 60,000, maybe 66, and I thought that would be like kind of extensive for a memoir. And now, as I'm going back through all the chapters, I'm realizing there are so many times when I've like forgotten to explain something. I'll be talking about, I don't know, like IVF, and then I'll realize I never actually explained what IVF is. So then I have to go back and add. So the book's kind of getting shorter, and I fear this.
And because it's a memoir, you do need to have that stuff in there.
Right.
Yeah.
So like I'm really going to have to kind of like figure out where I've repeated stuff, and that's messy when you've got such a very large manuscript. Like you would think it would be easier with nonfiction, but actually I think it's harder because with fiction, there's like a story you're telling, so you're not usually like going backwards in time. You're not going to like retell the characters, I don't know, entering the magical forest 3 times, right? But you might retell a story about IVF 6 times in an infertility memoir because that's how many times you ended up doing it. You know what I'm saying? So, okay. So that's me. It's my long, drawn out explanation for what I'm doing right now.
That's your slightly fancier edits than usual story.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm actually kind of worried about it. I feel like I'm going to have to go back and like maybe, I don't know, like make, like I'm going to need an actual manuscript. I'll have to like print it or something and then like mark where I'm doing different things, which is such a nightmare because unless I can get Scrivener to help me, maybe I can do that.
What do you mean?
See. Well, Scrivener has like a really good outlining function, and in fiction books I use that for outlining the plot line. But with this, I think I could sort of use it to just make sure that I'm not duplicating efforts, so I could write like defined fresh IVF cycle here.
I see what you're saying. Okay. So it's to avoid repeating the same exact information over and over again. Yes. Okay.
Exactly. And I think that would let me move things around a little easier. So I would know and be able to see it more simply, but still it's going to be a nightmare. So that's October for me, I think. I was going to try to do a novella this month.
Novella November.
So, Sandy, can I ask you a question about your memoir? So I'm thinking that there's going to be more people in it than just you, obviously. How do other people that are going to be talked about in that memoir feel about you talking about them? Or do they know they're going to be in your book?
So, I mean, my husband will obviously be like a main character, right? And he is on board with this. For my family, I'm not asking them, but I'm also not, like, I'm trying pretty hard not to name them, right? So there will never be a like, my particular family member did this. We'll also try not to bash them for things, so there will be no place in the book where like, somebody does something really horrible. And same with doctors. I feel like, especially for something like this, like you really can't name like the particular clinic that you were at because there's just too many legal issues, like it's my story. I can write what happened, but I don't want to put anything that anybody could interpret as in like a disparaging manner, right? And accidentally mess it up. But that's the only way I could think of to do this without needing permission, right? Like I can't name people because if I do,
but it's also it's a medical memoir, so it's not like there's any illegal activity or anything. As you know, and there's no like malpractice involved or anything in it. So I definitely, like you said, don't name names in it. But also, this isn't. I don't know in there like that is absolutely a concern for pretty much all memoirs, but I think for yours it's a little less just because the nature of this particular one.
Yeah, I mean, with a memoir, like Melanie writes, she's been afraid of calling out people. So I feel like I do have to soften a few things here or there, like stuff that happened with our families. I don't want like massive hurt feelings, especially with something like this, because most of the time if there's hurt feelings, nobody did it intentionally, you know, like, so there's that, but the medical stuff too. I mean, it would be pretty easy to interpret a few things I say as like, gosh, like, would I really want to be at this clinic? You know, like, so she was at this particular place for like 6 years and never got pregnant. Maybe that's a bad clinic to be at, or maybe I'm just freaking unlucky, you know, but I'm trying to be sensitive to that because malpractice or not, people can interpret your words in different ways.
The book that I'm getting ready to publish, I started out writing it, intending it to be a memoir, but then I was talking to my sister and she was totally fine with even with her name being in there, but specific things, we remember it totally opposite, like completely different. Like, I remember us being told that a certain family member of ours died, and that my dad and my stepmom told us, but she remembers grandma telling her, like, totally, completely different things. And there's things that I told her about. She's like, I don't remember that. I know you were there, but I don't remember you or your brother being there at all. I'm like, we were all there together. So just people had different memories of the exact same thing. So instead of like me saying it's a memoir, I'm just putting it like based on true events, and I'm changing everybody's name. Mm-hmm. Like every single character in there, their name, even the people in my family that have passed away in the last 10 years, I've still changed their name, changed the name of the schools and all that. So, I mean, it is my story. I just feel like it might be less, you're talking bad about me, or that's not really what happened type stuff happening. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, the good thing about something like infertility is it's like mostly it's me and my spouse, right? Like people don't even know what we've gone through in most cases. So there is no other person involved. It's just me and him. And we do sometimes remember it a little bit differently. So, I mean, to me, that's like, it's my story, right? Not his.
Right.
But he'll also be able to read it. And like, if there is something where he's like, I don't know about this, you can hash it out.
Yes, right.
Because husband.
Exactly. Yeah. Whereas, like, I would really like to be doing Christmases. Oh my God, Christmases with infertility suck. And I would really like to do like a whole thing on this. And I wrote it all up. I think I'm gonna have to delete most of it, because how do you not offend people talking about holidays where you're utterly miserable and they're like trying to be happy? You know, they don't know that everybody will feel bad. So
that is novel fodder right there. That you throw into a novel. I have done that with so many things. And for me, it's a lot of like I have a book that I never finished, but it has a whole bunch of like, it's about vending at music festivals, which is something that I did. So like all the most ridiculous stories in it or anecdotes in it are things that absolutely happened to me that I'm like, I can't, like literally everybody is on drugs in this story. I can never do an actual memoir. Like this is literally a story of that time that Zach took mushrooms and thought he peed himself. So like some things absolutely like novelize them. And especially again, like you were saying, Stephanie, when it involves family drama,
Yeah, I mean, like,
novelize it, use it for fodder. I throw little bits of my screwed up family into almost every story I write.
like the villains of my story have all passed away, and they've been passed away for some time. But there might be people out there, family or knows that person that might not know exactly that's what happened.
People, they're not the villains of those stories.
Right, exactly.
The villain of my story could be the hero of yours. So yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's why I decided to just say it's based on true events, because there's things in my story, like at one point, my dad and my stepmom got into an argument, and then next thing I remember in my memory is us going to bail my dad out of jail. But I know that something had to happen from point A to point B. So I filled in after speaking to friends of mine that are police officers about what that process would look like at the bail bondsman and the police station and the jail and all that. So that was fictionalized, but realistic fiction. You know what I mean? Like, I just filled in what I thought would realistically have happened to go from point A to point B. But I don't know if that's exactly word for word that's what happened.
So. This is also something that, for a medical memoir, you kind of have some help on, because one, I can go back through literally my receipts to see things that I definitely paid for and did. So I can fill in gaps that way. And two, it's not a trauma story, to the I think there's a difference between writing a story where people are, where you have villains, you know what I mean? Where you feel like you do have it. I don't have villains in my story. I just have fate. So that's a bit of a help. But
Melanie's got a good example over there too. I feel like we all have some crazy stories that have happened in our lives that are absolutely in that stranger than fiction scenario, that who would ever think they'd be in a scenario like that? But that, absolutely, you can build up an entire story around it and use it and stay faithful to that story, but make it a story of imagination when actually it's a real event. But it's so crazy that
no one's going to believe that it actually happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know what? It's a good litmus test too. So at some point I read a short story that was fiction. It was kind of about some of my infertility stuff, and I sent it into a contest. The judges wrote back that the woman sounded like she didn't want a baby. I was so pissed off at them. I just gave you my actual real feelings and you decided that they weren't valid. Have you gone through any of this? So I think there are times with that where I know that I have to write it as nonfiction. It has to be a memoir, or people won't even, they won't think it's a story. They won't believe the characters, but they will believe me. And there's a difference there. I don't know, but it's a weird dynamic, right? I think you choose what to do with your story based on things like that. Would this make a good fiction story? My infertility stuff would not. It would be a terrible story.
Melanie, I'm glad that your mom's alive and well at 65.
Yes. Good. Are we at the writing the thing?
We're about there, yes.
Yeah.
That's the hard thing about how to classify mine, memoir or not, based on true events or not.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You gotta decide.
I know it's coming up. I don't know.
The good news is that with Amazon's algorithms, you can put it up into up to 10 categories.
Yes,
so you don't have to say they're that, but you can certainly shove them in those categories. And as long as there's nothing saying that it's not a memoir, nobody's going to mind that it's in the memoir category. Is it a memoir? I don't know. Let's find out.
That's true.
Yeah. As long as, again, it's not erotic romance in the cookbook section. I cite something that I've actually seen right there and was very upset anyways. Okay, so we are going to go for 10 minutes. This is our last sprint of the day. It is 4:15, so we'll see you guys at 5:00. Good luck, everybody.
Oh, that felt like a fast last 10 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, so this is going to be a crazy final thing to happen in this, but this is a weird conversation that apparently popped up in my house before I left or while I was gone. And it's going to sound absolutely crazy to most of you, but here we go. If you are still here and watching, and also Sandy and Stephanie, I need to know where you're from or where you are, and if you know what the chicken dance is.
Okay, so I'm in Oregon and I know what the chicken dance is. My kids know what it is too, and I learned it in school. Okay.
I totally know what it is.
Yeah. And I'm curious about the viewers as well, but apparently my Tommy, the friend who is staying with us, brought it up to Ken, my roommate, who is born and raised Georgia. And Ken at least claimed, I think he's a dirty liar, but he claims that he does not know what the chicken dance is. And we're wondering if it's a Southern thing. And of course, for both me and Tommy, we both lived at least briefly in heavily Polish communities. And it's a polka. But also, like, I've absolutely done the damn chicken dance at weddings in Delaware. So, yeah. So I guess if any of you don't know what it is, Natalia's comment is great on this. But yeah, okay. So for the people who are viewing and who have responded, everybody knows what it is. Okay, perfect.
That's no. I feel like if you're a certain age, at least, like, wasn't the chicken dance huge at like skating?
No, Tommy said the same thing. I always think of it as being a wedding thing. But yes, also skating.
Yeah, definitely. That's where I know the chicken dance from. That is very funny.
Yeah, we learned it in PE at our grade school on the Oregon coast. So
okay, so the rest of us are like Rust Belt, basically. But you are West Coast, so you got this. Because I've also got Toronto and Cleveland and Chicago, and I think there is somebody else in there as well. Maybe not, but yeah, all of us. I'm like, oh, there's a lot of Polish people in probably all those areas. I don't know Toronto, but I feel like it's not that far away from that part of America, so, or the U.S. So I would assume that Toronto also has a decent Polish population. But yeah, you're in Oregon and you know what it is. So yes. I'm sorry, that was a really weird way to end this session. I got about 200 words before that conversation came up.
And I am not finished revising that particular chapter, but there's lots to be done. What about you, Stephanie? What did you gotten done?
I think I got like 80 words dialogue. It's not always flowing as well as it should be.
I think 80 words of dialogue is actually more than you think, like, because dialogue is short sentences. But hey, by the way, so thanks so much to Stephanie for co-hosting with us today. I just put a link to her most recent YouTube video in the comments, so go check that out. She's another. Are you an author tuber, Stephanie? Or
yes,
you definitely, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she's another author tuber. And if you want to host with us at some point, we've got a sign-up sheet at some point in hopefully the first time I'm not here, it will be November 30th, and we'll know why I'm not here. But it could be any time before then. So yeah.
Oh, speaking of, thank your mom-in-law for me. I got the stuff. I was like, what the hell is this bag of granola? And then I saw the gift message in it. Her baby shower was last week, and there was a bingo, and
you won crunchy granola.
Hopefully Natalia also got it, because I'm going to be embarrassed if I got it and she didn't, and I'm like ratting your mother-in-law out. But I returned home from my trip to an Amazon package of granola and Post-it notes.
That is hilarious. Yes, my mother has done really super cute virtual baby shower bingo prizes.
Oh yeah, that's your mom. That's not your mother-in-law. That's your mom. Yeah.
I'll tell her. I'll tell her. Thanks. So, okay. So, is anybody else streaming right now? Is there anybody we need to, like, if you wanted to keep writing, anybody know who you can pop over to? Devin is really good at this. Devin, who should we go to next?
I don't think Devin is. Oh, no, Devin is still here.
So Dana Golan writes. Is that how you say her channel name?
I think it's Dana.
Dana. Okay. Says that she's streaming. She's streaming right now.
Awesome.
With Tamara Woods and a couple other people, I think.
Oh, that'll be a big stream then. Yeah, if you guys want more words, that should be a good stream to check out. They normally have a good show.
Does anybody have the link to that one?
Do we? It should be in our footer. Yeah, because they're all author tubers.
Oh wait! I think I'm subscribed to her channel. Hang on.
I just went to their link and it just finished up. Actually, sorry.
Never mind that.
A minute ago. Oops.
Scratch that.
So
sorry,
much
guys.
for being helpful. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Anyway. I will. For those of you who are early morning people, I did see it looks like everybody here again is mostly East Coast or at least this time zone, except for Stephanie. I will be doing my morning show tomorrow. I'm assuming this is way too early for you, Stephanie. But
if I'm awake at that time, something's wrong. Okay.
I feel like if I was on that coast and I was awake at that time, it'd be like the wrong side and like, oh man, I need to go to bed. But tomorrow I will be doing my 8 a.m. show. I will definitely be doing it on Friday as well. I am debating about whether to do it on Thursday. And then it looks like Natalia is going to be doing her morning show. Her morning show is at 9. Mine is at 8. Mine should be running 8 to 9:30. But Natalia's morning show is going to be on Wednesday and Friday morning. And then she's also going to be doing a Thursday evening show.
So many places to stream. Look, Devin did find something for us. Devin should be the admin.
Devin, you are amazing. Yeah. But yeah, so Natalia, if you want to shoot me the links for the Wednesday and Friday morning ones, I should be available. Obviously, the Friday one, I'll be late because I'll be doing mine until 9:30, but I will certainly join you on those guys. No idea what by Thursday evening is.
All right. So, and thanks everybody. Thanks especially to Stephanie for joining us today. And I think that ends our show. I think we better let everybody get on with their day.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye.